Greetings and salutations, my friend. Whew, oh boy, do I have big news for you. And I think it might be something a lot of you hoped for since early days of my channel, really. And here I am to announce it that I am writing a book on the topic of detransition. And now, some of you might ask, well, weren't you writing a book on technology? What happened to that? Yes, it's still an ongoing project, but I'll be writing 2 books, and let me explain to you. So, originally I didn't really want to write a book about detransition or this topic, mostly because I didn't think I was the right person for it, really. I wanted to have more to say than I would at that time, and this just wasn't something I was interested in or ready for. I thought, like, you know, just talking about my own journey through that on YouTube would be enough. But after doing this for, well, over a year now, I think it's been 1 year and 4 months approximately since I made my first video on the topic of detransition. And you know, I think I explored this topic enough to actually want to write about it and to feel like it is something I'm actually capable to write about at this point after a long time of reflection, you know, because I think if you want to sit down and write a book, you really have to have something to offer there, you know, something of quality. If you're not ready for that, don't do it. And this is also part of the reason why, while I already wanted to write about technology back in 2018, I didn't start doing that until 2023 because I wanted to be sure that I had possessed enough well, I wouldn't call it expertise because I don't really think anyone is an expert. I think if someone calls themselves an expert, that says more about their ego than their skill, actually. But I think, you know, I know and have reflected on it a lot, enough at least, to have something to offer of value on that particular topic. And that is the reason why I decided to write the book on technology and transhumanism. And so here we are, and I have 2 writing projects. Well, actually 3, but I'll get back to that later. And it does not mean that I stopped writing on technology. Actually, what I'm likely going to do is that I'm going to finish the book on detransition first. So, if everything goes according to the plan, the book on detransition will be published in 2025. But you know how life is. Not everything goes according to the plan, not always. Like, I thought I would be writing a lot this summer, but it turned out I didn't do that much of it because I was in pain a lot of the time. And my grandpa was in hospital fighting for his life, and so I didn't really have time to either write or make YouTube videos or really doing nothing. I was going through a pretty hard period in my life this year. This summer really sucked in every single way possible. But, you know, I don't know if anything like that will happen. If it will happen, of course, it will slow down my writing process. And, you know, there are also challenges with publishing a book. Well, let's go back to that later because that's what I'm going to talk about at the end of this video. So yeah, if everything goes according to the plan, in 2025 this book on detransition will be finished, and in 2026 the book on technology will be finished. Why? Well, the book on technology takes a much longer time to write. I think it's a much more complicated topic that requires a lot of research during the writing, and just writing 1 page of that book can take much more than writing 1 page on detransition, because pretty much just writing intuitively on that. It's sort of autobiographical memoir book, so you know it just goes much faster. And I can also say the same about many of the YouTube videos I do. When I talk about the topic of the transition, those videos usually are very easy to make, you know, like I can make them in 1 or 2 days. When I'm doing a video on a specific topic relating to social issues or politics or philosophy, making a kind of video can take a week or two. So there's a big difference there, right? And because it will take such a long time to finish this particular book on the topic of technology and transhumanism, I think I wanted to drop something else first. And in some ways, I also think it would be a good idea to publish a book on detransition first, mostly because I'm an unpublished author when it comes to the books. I published a small poetry collection here in Norway a couple of years ago. Not something I like these days. When I'm looking back at those poems, I cringe. But, you know, if I were to publish something on a big scale, I think that the topic of detransition is a good way to start. And let me tell you why. It's because it's a much harder topic right now, but I don't think it will be long term. And let me explain to you why. I think it has something that has definitely peaked in the last few years, and I think it will be probably in the next 5 years or so. So I think this is the perfect time to publish a book like that and prioritize it. Whereas the topic of technology is something that is growing, it's on the incline, but it hasn't reached its peak. And I think it will continue to grow because that will be more relevant in the coming years. I think that this whole detrans stuff, it's really going to go down in a couple of years, if you ask me. The whole debate on that, it will be over. It's kind of like the gay thing in the 80s, you know. Things like that don't last very long. But technological development, AI, all that stuff, that will be super relevant in the years to come. So I think that's more long-term thing. This is a short-term thing that I want to focus on right here and right now. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to publish the book on detransition first. And besides, I think it will also be a book that is easier for me to publish as an unpublished author because of that and because of my experience. So there's it's sort of a strategic move in a way. But I really didn't have a plan to write a book like that. How it started was basically an accident. Back in May this year, I was writing chapter 8 of my book on technology out of 14 chapters. So I encountered sort of writer's block at that point. And I haven't written anything for weeks, actually. And every time I sat down to write, I would write a couple of sentences and I just couldn't do it, you know. And it started to annoy me because I was thinking like, I'm not going anywhere with it, right? So when things like that happen, I need to write something else because I've had a need to write something else. And it's probably something a lot of you, if all of you, don't know about, but I like to write stories, fictional stories with characters and so on. And not to publish them or anything like that. I do it for myself. It's a hobby of sort. So I haven't written anything like that in over a year because the last year, basically from summer last year to May, I was writing only on the topic of philosophy of technology. And it's just started to dawn on me that, you know, I really want to write something else. And I think if I let all of that out, I will go back to writing this book. And so I started to write this story, and the beginning, it starts with a person lying in an empty public restroom, covered in blood. He's been stabbed, and I've spent the first half page on describing the pain he was going through. And you know, I was thinking, well, what was the inspiration for that, and how was I able to describe the pain? I was thinking like, well, basically, I was describing the pain I was actually going through post-op. Like, this is what it feels like, you know? I looked at the scene and I thought, you know what, this is really genuine, but yet it's fiction. What if it was non-fiction, you know? Like, if I'm able to describe my pain like that, why not actually write about what I experienced? And so this gave me an idea to, just write a story about myself, my life, basically. And at first, I didn't really thought of it as a long-term project. I wasn't like, oh, this is something I want to write and finish and publish. I was like, no, I'm just going to write it for a little bit, see how I feel, and go back to writing the book on technology. And in that short span of time, the first 2 weeks, I wrote the first 4 chapters. And those chapters are much easier to write than anything on the subject of philosophy of technology. And I was like, you know what? I think I have a solid fundament here to make it into a whole book. And I started with my early childhood experiences, and basically every single factor that led to the reason why I wanted to transition as a teenager. So where am I in the writing process exactly? And if you've been following my channel, you know my story more or less chronologically. I'm at the part where I'm going to see the private doctor to get access to hormones. And you know, I'm sort of describing it as this thrilling adventure that it felt like at the time. You know, and considering that it started as a fiction or story that was going to be sort of like horror inspired and quite violent, let me tell you, there's a lot of horror elements in this book, actually. And why? Because a lot of the things I experienced in my life can be perfectly described with the horror genre, and I don't want you to think that, oh, this makes it off-putting or unavailable to a lot of people. This is a very honest book, pretty much as honest as this channel, and I don't want to censor anything, I don't want to downplay anything. I want to show it exactly how it was. And the reason why I also mentioned the horror genre is because that is a genre that has been with me since my childhood. It is a genre that has helped me with my anxiety and fear of death since early childhood, and it's been always close to my heart. And some of post-traumatic experiences and the dreams and flashbacks I had, there's something out of a horror novel or a horror movie, and so I think writing it like that is the most correct way to do it, really. And I was asking myself, like, will it put some people off? Perhaps, but I still really want to do it this way. I think this is exactly what it feels genuine. I think that, like, this is me, and I really want this book to be me. The book will have 24 chapters in total. 17 of those chapters are a memoir, autobiographical story of my life. Basically, from early childhood till the day I made that first video, when I sat down in front of a camera. The rest of the story, you know, what happened afterwards, because you've been with me here on this journey. If not, welcome to my channel. The other 7 chapters, they're more reflective. They're thematical. They're about certain aspects of transition or detransition or gender identity or metaphysics of gender. A lot of things I have covered on this channel and talked about them will be covered in that book. So it's partially autobiographical and partially reflective philosophical on the subject of gender and transition and detransition. So I have a lot of work ahead of me, and I want you to know that either way I'm going to publish it or make it available in some way. Regarding both books, the first priority and option is to actually, publish it through an actual publisher, right? That's number one priority. And if for some reason that doesn't go well, because that is something I have to prepare myself for, I will try to publish it independently, perhaps on Amazon. I guess I'll just have to save money to do that. I think it's a good idea to publish books independently digitally these days, rather than on paper. It costs less, or perhaps even making an independent audiobook. Yeah, sure, I could sit down for a week or two, just read it and publish it as an audiobook, and I'll probably do it at some point anyway. And if not, I might even publish it for free on the internet, make it available for everyone if all the other options fail. But either way, I want you to know this will be available. Both of these books will be available to read one way or another. Final thing, before I announce the live stream, I've also been working on a Substack article these last few weeks. Yes, weeks actually. And it started as an idea for a short Substack article, maybe something like, 5-6 pages, like in Word document. Well, it turned out longer than that. It's actually 16 pages, and I've been writing on the topic of cryotechnology, and thought it was like, like a nice sneak peek into that book I'm working on, because yeah, it's technology related, and I'm also going to cover that topic in the book. But this one actually focuses on Epicurus and the Epicurean hedonism, and whether it is possible to accept the use of cryotechnology within the frames of Epicurean hedonism. And right now it's finished. I'm just polishing the whole text really, but I'm thinking, should I publish it on Substack, or should I go further with that? Because I will try to publish it in some journal related either to philosophy or technology. So wish me best of luck with that, and if I'm not able to do that in the next half a year, this will become available on Substack. But I want to publish it somewhere else, to be honest, because I just think like this is too much of a quality text to put it on Substack. Like Substack is just a small font text you publish, or like some small reflections. I don't think this is the correct article to put on Substack, especially considering it's not exactly an easy read. And a friend of mine who's a rhetorician actually told this to me, like, this is not the sort of thing you put on a blog or a Substack, and after thinking about it, I kind of agree. This really isn't that kind of text you put there. So before I go, actually I won't go because I'm at my home. I will stay here, just gotta do something else. So I'm going to do a live stream Sunday next week, and I hope you'll be there. And I want this live stream to be focused on these two books, or maybe this article I'm writing, that too. Now, so ask me anything you want about these projects, and for 2 hours, maybe be free. I don't know. Sometimes there's last time this live stream turned out to be quite long, like 3 hours, but let's hope for 2 hours. I will be answering the questions on these projects, these books I'm writing. So if there's anything you're wondering about, ask me, and I will try to tell you as much as I can. Obviously, you know, I also don't want to reveal too much, because I want there to be some surprise for you when you'll be writing that. Other questions are welcome as well, but I just want us to focus on these specific things. But sure, if you have some other burning questions that is not related to those projects, but you want to ask me to that, I'm not going to tell you no, we don't do that. Ask away, you know. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you on the live stream next week. And right now I'm going to get back to writing before I edit this video and put it on YouTube. Hope you have a good day, and see you soon. Ciao.